All right, so you've given us this really fascinating stack of sources. It's all centered around a place, but it goes, well, way deeper, doesn't it?
It really does. We're looking at Munny Sokol Park in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But yeah, it's about the name, the park itself, and then this surprising science behind what happens there.
Exactly. We've got history on a local figure, Morris Sokol. We've got details on the park, the bike trails specifically.
Hmm.
And then this research about how moving your body, especially outside, actually affects your brain. It's quite a mix.
It is. So the mission today is sort of understand the legacy behind this community space
Right.
and unlock these connections, outdoor activity, community, and even like cognitive well-being, how it all fits together.
Okay, let's do it. So starting at the beginning seems right. The man behind the name,
Yeah.
who was Morris Munny Sokol.
Okay, Morris Seymour Sokol, born 1911, passed away in 1984. And he was, well, a major figure in Tuscaloosa business.
Started young, too, from what I saw. Opened Sokol's furniture store in Tuscaloosa way back in 1928.
1928. Yeah, think about that timing. And it wasn't just one store. It became a chain across Alabama. He eventually sold it in 69.
But it wasn't just about business for him, was it? The sources mentioned his degree from University of Alabama.
Right, a business administration degree.
Yeah.
But crucially, it mentioned this alongside his knowledge of communal necessity. I love that phrase.
Eternal necessity. Yeah, that really jumps out. It suggests he was thinking beyond just profit, about what the community actually needed.
Exactly. And that seems to have, fueled a lot of his work. He raised millions of dollars, millions. For the university, yes, but also broadly for Tuscaloosa.
And specifically for things like recreation.
Yes, absolutely. He headed up lots of fundraising campaigns,
Yeah.
specifically for recreational spots and youth clubs in town. He clearly saw the value in that.
Giving people, especially kids, places to go and positive things to do.
Hmm. And by all accounts, he was pretty good at getting people on board. Described as humorous, charismatic. Everyone knew him as Uncle Money.
Uncle Money. That tells you something right there.
It does. Beloved guy. And maybe not surprisingly, he was an outdoor sports enthusiast himself.
Ah, okay, so he had a personal passion for it, too.
Seems likely.
Yeah.
Which makes sense why his name is on Munny Sokol Park. And there was also the Munny Sokol Open, a golf tournament that benefited the Boys and Girls Ranch.
So his legacy is really tied into community recreation, literally built into these places and events.
For sure. And it was formally recognized, too. He was inducted into the Tuscaloosa County Civic Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And get this, it was in 2001, which was the first year they gave out that award.
Wow, the inaugural year.
Yeah, it was created to honor people with long-term, significant contributions to the county, its development, its heritage, and he was right there in that first group.
That really paints a picture. A businessman, but deeply invested in the community's well-being, especially recreation. Okay, so that's the man. Let's shift to the park, named after him, Munny Sokol Park. What's the story there today?
Well, today, Sokol Park is definitely a big deal for outdoor activity in Tuscaloosa. One source said readers voted it the best place for biking in town.
Best biking, huh? High praise indeed. So, for anyone listening, where is it exactly?
It's on Watermelon Road, north of the Black Warrior River.
Okay. And the biking sounds pretty serious.
It can be. There are about, 15 miles or so of mountain biking trails. A mix, single track, double track.
For different skill levels.
Yeah, definitely. Everything from what they call beginner bunny trails up to sections that are like short, steep, twisty, really technical.
Okay.
One description called the whole system a tight, fast roller coaster road.
Roller coaster road. I like that. Sounds intense.
Apparently, if you're really moving, you can do the whole course in under an hour.
Wow. And we heard from some locals in the sources, didn't we? Gina Simpson from Velocity Bike Shop.
Yeah, she called Sokol a great place to ride. And she pointed out how convenient it is, and importantly, that it's really well maintained.
Right, by volunteers. That's always crucial.
From the West Alabama Mountain Biking Club and the Druid City Bicycle Club. She also stressed that, cyclists of all levels can find a good ride there. It's not just for the experts.
That's good to know. But it sounds like Tuscaloosa is getting a reputation beyond just local riders. Simpson mentioned some trails being called epic.
Yeah, epic, which is high praise in mountain bike speak, as she put it. It suggests Tuscaloosa is becoming, a bit of a destination for serious mountain bikers.
Interesting. And Bruce Henderson, president of one of those clubs, the DCBC.
Right, Bruce Henderson, he echoed that, saying Tuscaloosa is fortunate to have natural venues for cycling such as Sokol Park. He directly links having these kinds of trails to the city attracting bigger events.
Like cyclocross and triathlons.
Exactly. Regional, even national events. So the park isn't just a local gem, it's part of a bigger picture for the area.
Makes sense. The sources mentioned a couple of other spots nearby too, just to round things out.
Yeah, for a totally different feel, there are paved paths along the Black Warrior River, Manderson Park to Riverwalk Park West.
More for casual riders, families maybe?
Exactly. Flat, scenic river views, places for picnics, you can watch the barges go by. Very relaxed.
And then there's Lake Lurleen, a bit further out.
Yeah, Lake Lurleen State Park. About 9 miles northwest of Tuscaloosa, maybe 14 from the university campus. It's got a much bigger trail network,
How big?
like 20 to 22 miles of single-track mountain bike trails, often with lake views, which is nice. They mention trail names like Toshka and loops like Tornado, Stormy, Lightning.
Sounds adventurous.
It does. Plus, it's a state park, so you've got camping, fishing, boats to rent. You can make a whole weekend of it.
Okay, cool. So we've got the man, his legacy, the places like Sokol Park and Lake Lurleen offering these activities. Now let's pivot to that third piece, the science. This is where it gets really fascinating for me. What is all this outdoor activity doing to our brains?
Right. It's not just about getting your heart rate up, though that's part of it. The sources lay out some really powerful connections between physical movement, especially rhythmic movement outdoors, and cognitive function.
Okay, break it down for us. What are some of the key benefits happening upstairs when you're, say, riding through Sokol Park?
Well, one of the first things is just basic plumbing, almost. Increased blood flow to the brain. More movement means more oxygen, more nutrients getting up there.
Right.
The source used a great image. It's like opening the windows in your mind. Better mental clarity, less brain fog.
That makes intuitive sense. More fuel, better performance. What about the way we move? That rhythmic aspect.
Yes, that's huge. Rhythmic cross-body movement, think ramp, walking, running, cycling. It does something really cool. It helps synchronize the brain's left and right hemispheres.
The logical and creative side.
Exactly. It improves the communication between them. Better coordination, not just physically, but mentally, too. One source called it a catalyst for whole brain thinking.
Wow. So the simple act of pedaling is actually helping your brain work in a more integrated way.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And when you add in the fact that activities like cycling engage your whole body, legs, core, arms, balance okay, you're activating more of the nervous system all at once. The source called it a symphony of motion. It enhances brain connectivity overall, basically building better communication lines between brain and body.
Symphony of motion. I like that. Now, does being outdoors add another layer to this, being in nature?
Oh, absolutely. Moving in nature specifically seems to dial down stress. It's shown to reduce cortisol levels.
The main stress hormone.
Right. And at the same time, it boosts serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals. So you're literally changing your brain chemistry towards being less stressed and happier just by being outside and moving. It's like a reset button for your mind.
That's incredible. Less stress, better mood just from a walk or ride in the park. What about longer-term effects, like memory?
Yeah, the sources indicate that regular engagement in these kinds of activities improves memory and recall over time. All that increased oxygen, the stimulation, the coordination, it all helps keep the brain sharp.
Makes sense. And our brains aren't fixed, right? They can change.
Exactly. Neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to adapt, form new pathways, the patterns of movement, especially navigating uneven terrain like on a trail.
Like at Sokol Park.
Precisely. That stimulates neuroplasticity. You're essentially training your brain to be more flexible, more adaptable.
The sources mentioned using poles, like in Nordic walking, but I guess the constant micro-adjustments in biking, steering, balancing does something similar.
Absolutely. It requires constant motor planning, even if it's subconscious. Fine-tuning that brain-body communication. The source described it as tuning the frequency.
Okay. And attention span. Does being outside help with focus?
Apparently, yes. Outdoor walking, specifically compared to indoor exercise, seems to improve attention span more effectively. Maybe it's the combination of the rhythmic movement in the natural environment. It acts like that reset button again, clearing the mental clutter.
Letting you focus better afterwards.
Yeah. And one more thing, the rhythm itself can be meditative. The steady, repetitive motion of walking or cycling can help pull you into the present moment. Quiets the mental chatter. The source said you can enter a meditative state where stress melts away. Promotes mindfulness.
Okay, let me see if I've got this. So heading out for a ride at Sokol Park or a hike at Lake Lurleen You're not just exercising, you're potentially increasing blood flow for clarity, syncing your brain hemispheres for better thinking, reducing stress hormones, boosting mood chemicals, improving memory long term, making your brain more adaptable, sharpening your focus, and getting into a mindful state.
That's pretty much the package deal, according to these sources, yeah.
Yeah.
It really stacks up,
Wow. That puts a whole new perspective on just going for a bike ride.
doesn't it?
So let's try and weave all these threads together then. We started with Morris, Uncle Munny Sokol, this community leader with a vision for recreation based on communal necessity.
Mm-hmm. Who left a tangible legacy in places like Munny Sokol Park.
Right. Then we looked at the park itself and places like Lake Lurleen as these vibrant hubs for outdoor activity, especially biking, catering to all skill levels.
Venues that are clearly valued by the community and even draw people in from further afield.
And then we dove into the science, discovering that engaging in those very activities, in those natural settings, offers this incredible suite of benefits for our brains. Clarity, coordination, stress relief, memory, focus.
It really connects the dots, doesn't it? From civic investment decades ago to individual cognitive health today. It shows the profound value of these community spaces and just, well, moving outdoors.
Absolutely. Knowing this definitely changes how you might think about supporting local parks or even just motivating yourself to get out for that walk or ride. It's not just exercise anymore.
It's brain care, too, and body care, and maybe even a bit of community building, all rolled into one.
So a final thought to leave people with. It's pretty powerful to consider how one person's vision, like Munny Sokol's investment in recreation all those years ago, is still paying off today. Not just in fitness or fun, but maybe in the actual mental sharpness and well-being of the people using those trails.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other simple community investments, things we might take for granted, could be having these kinds of deep, long-lasting, positive effects that we haven't even fully recognized yet?
Something to think about for sure.